Hello students, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to discuss about looping statements in Java. Looping statements are also known as iterative statements or repetitive statements or control statements. Okay, so the name itself indicates loop. Sometimes we need to execute the block of code repeatedly. So in that case, we need to use looping statements. Okay. Sometimes we need to execute the block of code repeatedly while some condition evaluates true. However, the loop statements are used to execute the set of instructions number of times. Okay. For example, I want to print hello 10 times. So no need to write hello, no need to write the statement, print statement 10 times. So for that purpose, you need to use for loop, while loop, and do while loop, the looping statements. Okay, so there are three types of looping statements: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Okay, so these three looping statements are used for performing the same task multiple times, but the difference is base syntax. Okay, syntax wise these are differ. So let's see, the first one is Java for loop. Okay, so in Java for loop is similar to C and C++. Okay, so it enables us to initialize the loop variable. Normally these three looping statements contains three important parts. One is known as initialization, next one condition, and the third one is increment or decrement, that is known as updation. Okay, initialization, condition, and updation. Okay, so here it will first initialize the variable and after that it checks the condition. So if the condition is true, then statements are executed, and after that it will increment or decrement the variable. Okay, when we use for loop only when we exactly know the number of times we want to execute the block of code. Okay, so we only use this for loop when we are sure about the number of times the block of code to be executed. Okay, so let's see the syntax for loop. Yes, this is the syntax for loop. So I already told that every looping statement contains three important points: initialization, condition, increment, decrement. So this is known as updation. So first it will initialize. Initialization is nothing but storing value into variable. For example, I is equals to 1. That is known as initialization. Okay. Next, condition. Condition is nothing but um, I less than or equals to 5. So we are checking the condition whether the condition is true or not. If the condition is true, then only the block of statements are executed. Otherwise, it will come out from the loop. It will come out of the block. Okay, so if the condition is true, then the statements are executed, and after that it will increment or decrement the variable. So after incrementing again it will check the condition. So this task will be executed repeatedly until the condition is false. Okay, so see this. So it will first do initialization and then it will check the condition. So if the condition is true, then statements are executed. After statements execution, again it will check the condition. Okay. So if it is false, it will come out of the block. It will terminate the loop. Okay. So this is the condition. Let's see the example program for this one. Yes. So the class name is calculation. This is the main method. I took one variable. Okay. So int I. Next, numbers using for loop. So I'm just printing one line, numbers using for loop. Why? Because in this program I'm explaining for loop, while loop, and do while loop. So for the differentiation I'm using these headlines. Okay. Next, so the for loop contain initialization, and this is condition, and this is known as incrementation. So first I value is 0, 0 less than or equals to 5. Is it true? Yes, this is true. If the condition is true, then it will print I value. What is the I value? I value is 0. Okay. Next, again, it will go to incrementation. So I value is 0. 0 will be incremented by 1. 1 less than or equals to 5 is true. So it will print the I value. I value is 1. Next, again it will go for incrementation. Now I value is 2. 2 less than or equals to 5 is true. It will print 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 less than or equals to 5 is also true. It will print the 5. Next, I value is incremented to 6. 6 less than or equals to 5. Is it true? No, it is false. It will come out of the block. Okay, so in this way for loop statements are executed. Let's see the second one. Yes, the next one is a while loop. While loop is also known as entry controlled loop. So while loop is known as entry controlled loop. I will explain why it is known as entry control loop. Okay, so while loop is used for iterate over the number of statements multiple times. So it is also used for the same purpose. However, if we don't know the number of iterations in advance, it is recommended to use while loop. If we know the if we know in advance, we can use for loop. Okay, if we don't know the number of iterations in advance, then only we can use while loop. Okay, it is also known as entry control loop since the condition is checked at the start of the loop, so that's why it is known as entry control loop. So in the starting itself, it will check the condition. If the condition is true, then only it will execute the statements. A for loop is also known as entry control loop. We can say for loop is also known as entry control loop. Why? Because if the condition is true, then only the block of statements are executed. Otherwise, the block of statements are not going to be executed. Okay. Yes, if the condition is true, then the loop body will be executed. Otherwise, the statements after the loop will be executed, not in the loop, after the loop. Okay, so let's see the program. Before that, we need to see the syntax. Okay, so this is the syntax for while loop. It contains initialization, while. While is a keyword, while condition, and it contains the looping statements, block of statements, and after that it will go for updation. After updation, again it will go for condition. If the condition is true, statements, updation, again condition. So this loop will be executed until the condition is false. Okay, start. Next it will check the condition. If the condition is true, then statements, again condition. If the condition is true, then statements. Okay, if the condition is false, then only it will terminate the loop. Okay, so let's see the program. Yes, so this is the numbers using while loop. So while loop contain first initialization, next while condition 0 less than or equals to 5. Is it true? Yes, it is true. Then it will print I value. I value is 0. Okay. Next I plus plus. I value is incremented by 1. 1 less than or equals to 5 is true. Next I value is incremented to 2. 2 less than or equals to 5 is true. Again 2 up to 3, 4, 5. Next 6 less than or equals to 5 is false. So that's why it will come out from the loop. Okay. So then last one is do while loop. So let's see. The do while loop is known as exit controlled loop. Okay, so this is known as exit controlled loop since the condition is not checked in advance. Okay, the condition at the end of the loop after the executing loop of statements when the number of iteration is not known and we have to execute the loop at least once. Okay, so when we want to execute the statement at least once, then only we can use do while loop. Okay, so it is known as exit control loop. Why? Because the condition is not checked at first. So this is the syntax. So first it contains initialization, do. So do means you need to do. Okay, so it will execute the statements. Okay, so after that it will update the either incrementation or decrementation. It will update the variable and after that it will check the condition. If the condition is true, again it will execute the statement. If the condition is false, it will come out the loop. Okay, so here the main difference is, if the condition is true or false, the statements are executed at least once. Okay, so let's see the flow chart. Do First it will execute the statements whether the condition is true or false. It is not mandatory. First it will execute the statements, and after that it will check the condition. If the condition is true, again statements are executed. If it is false, then it will terminate the loop. So carefully observe the difference between while loop, do while loop, and for loop. So in for loop and while loop, the condition, it will check the condition at first. If the condition is true, then only the statements are executed. But in do while loop, first statements are executed, then the condition is checked. Okay, so let's see the program. Yes. So numbers using do while loop, I is equals to 0. So initialization, next to do, it will print first I value. So what is the I value? 0, without checking any condition. Next I value is incremented to 1. 1 less than or equals to 5 is true. Again it will print the I value. Next I value is incremented to 2. Next it will check the condition, 2 less than or equals to 5 is true. It will print the 2. 3, 4, 5. So it will print the 5 value. So if you observe closely, all these for loop, while loop, and do while loop perform the same task. It will execute the statement number of times. But based on our requirements, we can use the statements we want. Okay. So let me execute this program once. So I saved this program as calculation. So let me open command prompt. Yes. Java C calculation dot Java. Yes. Next, we need to run the program Java class name. Class name is also same. Yes. So, numbers using for loop, numbers using while loop, numbers using do while loop. So, all the looping statements produces the same result. Okay. I hope it is clear. If you have any doubts regarding to this video, please comment me in the comment section. For more videos, please do subscribe my channel. Thank you.